What's up, everybody? Welcome to You Know What to Do in Peace with Netta. I'm your host, Netta, and today is the first segment of this podcast. I am so excited. I'm very excited and about damn time. So, today I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and my story, and I just want to thank all of my listeners out here, and I just want to tell y'all that do the work, do the inner work, do the work of actually healing yourself and doing it compassionately and with unconditional love. No, it's not always pretty, but it's beneficial to you. Become lighter. Work with your dark side, your shadow side. Clean that up. Everything ain't always peaches and cream and sweet and all that. Like, get with your dark side. Like, know who you are and be confident in who you are and believe in who you are, and like really check yourself, like God check yourself, the God within. But I'm not going to go hard right now on that. I will in another segment when I break that down. But yeah, so here we go. My name is Janetta Cuff, but y'all gonna call me Netta, and we gonna keep it like that. And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the founder of Sister Healing Hood, a sacred space for women of color and a safe haven for all women to come and find their inner peace while bonding with other women. And also, I am a intuitive empath, an energy healer, clairvoyant, claircognate, clairessence, all my spiritual gifts. And I became aware of a shift in my life in 2012. So basically, I lost my job. I was in this little stink relationship, and I had moved out of a family co-op or whatever. And I ended up moving in with my ex-boyfriend, with his mother in her house, and him. And I was over it. Like, she was cool. He was getting on my nerves. He was getting on my nerves before we left, and I should have ended that situation, but no, I didn't. And ended up staying with him for I think 3 weeks. But yeah. But that was my own insecurity that was within me. So, and I didn't know what I knew now. But yeah, so just to tell you a little background about that, because I'm about to tell you some next-ish leading up to how I know things was changing. So, yeah, I just wasn't comfortable in the house, and I didn't have a job, so I just felt like I hit rock bottom, and I didn't want to be in nobody's house without having no job, even though I did, pay the rent or whatever money that I had. And so I went to my mother's house, where she lived out of state. I could have stayed with her, but I chose not to because I didn't want to move back up there. And I didn't want to live up there. Plus, when you already have your freedom, you're not trying to move back in with your parents and trying to live by their rules. Like, I wasn't trying to have that, honestly. And, yeah, so I stayed up at my mom's house for 2 weeks, and I slept, looked for jobs online, applied for jobs online, and my self-esteem was shot. Like, it was just, ugh. I was just, ugh. I don't even have no words. It was just, ugh. So, I remember, getting my little messages in my head, like, yo, what you gonna do? Right? And I was like to myself, stack my money, get an apartment, give me a job. But it was something different. Like, nah. Like, what do you want to do with yourself? Like, who are you? And I couldn't even answer that question. Like, who are you? And it was like, oh, you could get a job. You could get an apartment. You could stack your bread, but give me something more. I kept getting, give me something more. So I remember on YouTube and start watching about ancient Kemet, and I was looking at Sister Soldier, which I was familiar with her because one of my favorite books by her is No Disrespect, and she's also known for her famous book, The Coldest Winter Ever, as well. But No Disrespect, like that's the shit right there. But anyway, I was on some Sister Soldier, on some real militant, and know who you are, and yeah, I was just regurgitating every goddamn thing I heard, right? So, then like I said before, starting to get into ancient Kemet, which I was always fascinated with since I was a child. I was also always fascinated with the pyramids and the hieroglyphics, and till this day, that's a goal to. Well, I'm going there. Let me just say that I am going to Egypt. So, yes, and yeah, and I'll get back to Egypt on another segment too. But it was a reason why I was so connected, and always passionately wanted to go there. So anyway, I remember just watching lectures and just learning, and I just got real militant. I was on some F all white people and, pointing the fingers, but I wasn't getting the message. The message was take control of your mind, So I'm continuing watching lectures and then learning about different scholars and great teachers such as Dr. Amos Wilson. This man was phenomenal. This man, Dr. John Henrik Clark, another phenomenal. Nellie Fuller, Dr. Francis Welsing, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, excuse me. Booker T. Washington, just all different scholars and teachers that were about the black people and getting our minds together. I'm very pro-black, and I don't mean I hate white people. So, because everybody that's your hue ain't for you anyway. But like, I'll get to that on another segment as well. But I'm very pro-black. I'm very about, shifting the mindset of the black community. Like, to learn to check your self-image and check your ego. And most of all is healing to me. So, back to 2012. So I'm looking at all these scholars, and then, so as time is going past, I'm like, all this stuff my intuition is kicking in. I'm like, yeah. So I'm at my mother's house for like 2 weeks. I come back to New York to my ex-boyfriend's house because I'm feeling a little better. And, he had my stuff packed up in like a corner, like somebody was there, and like he was trying to hide something. I was listening to my intuition that day, and I'm like, why is my stuff like packed up? And I'm like, if you was gonna pack up my stuff, you should have packed up everything. Like, I furnished that room. So yeah, it was like waiting to exhale to where I was bleaching stuff, cutting TV cords, all types of crazy stuff, breaking glass. No, I didn't ruin his mama house. I just ragged up the room, and whatever furniture I couldn't take, I broke it. And I remember that feeling. I had this like anxiety. It was crazy, and that's when I knew, oh shit, something like, I was like a ticking time bomb. And it was bound to happen, and I'm glad it happened. Even though what I did wasn't cool, but now that I look at it now, but whatever, it was meant to happen. And yeah, I was a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. And I used to hold in all my feelings. I used to shut down. And I used to do that from childhood. I wasn't a great communicator. I never used to express my feelings. And I was scared. I was scared to be vulnerable and things like that. And I just flipped out. And I had like an anxiety attack as well during that day. I ended up packing my stuff and going to my cousin's house. And about time I got out the cab to go to my cousin's house, like my whole body was shaking. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I never felt like that before. It was just bad. And I ended up throwing up when I got out the car. Like, it was bad. But anyway, just to fast forward, like, you know, I finally got a job. I was going through it, like, things was breaking down. Like, I was just fed up with my life the way it was. And me, I had big dreams and goals. I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur and a business owner, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. I don't think my why was big enough at that time either. And then I didn't realize that my dream was much bigger than me. But I started getting in tune with myself again, because as a child, I was very in tune. My intuition was very high. I just didn't understand it then. And as an adult, as I got older, like in my early 20s, I used to listen to my intuition, but then I used to ignore it, and then I used to be like, oh shit, that's when shit hit the fan. So I was like, you know what, Netta, listen to your intuition, like, take care of yourself, because I had my self-esteem was shot, and I was just going through it. I was a victim, and I was just looking at all my relationships and that I ever had, and I was like, yo, I'm the common denominator. So I started doing a lot of self-introspection, but it wasn't in a healthy way. But I'm glad I started and made myself the common denominator, because I'm like, yo, these habits, I'm going through a cycle, you know. Then I started to learn self-knowledge. Self-knowledge was the first step of my spiritual journey. And I continued to listen to these scholars and these great teachers. And I finally got a job, started working at the Postal Service. So, you know, everything that I wanted, I got: my apartment, the job, and it came like 2 years. It was 2 years later that I got my apartment, and my apartment was fly. Still got it to this day. So, but anyway, yeah, I got my job, but before I had my apartment, I was sleeping on people's floors. I was renting out rooms, dealing with people BS. But it taught me a lot, you know, just seeing other people, how other people live, how other people make moves, and just different things. And I'm just like, yo, I gotta get my space. You know, I really cherish my own space. You know, your house is like a sacred space. I really cherish that. You don't have everybody in your house, because your house is where you have your tranquil moments and where you could be at peace and you find your balance. When your house is hectic and full of chaos, and that's how my house was before I moved out the old apartment. And it was just a lot of chaos, and I was young, and I ain't know no better at that time. But now that I look at it, compared to them, my house is peaceful, quiet, like, and I wouldn't take that away for nothing, you know. So, yeah. So, working at the post office, stacking up my money, doing what I got to do to get where I needed to be, and just meeting different people and making new friends and looking at life differently and wanting more and speaking up more. But I realized that after that relationship in 2012, like I was really scorned. I was really jaded. Like I held on because I didn't really get to say what I wanted to say. And I kind of been that person growing up because I was, in my household as a child, you was seen, not heard. So I always felt like, oh, my feelings didn't matter. Or if I did try to express my feelings, it'd be like, oh, you're not supposed to feel that way, or you can't feel that way because, yeah. So I just held it in. And as I got older, I wasn't able to communicate effectively, excuse me. And I used to shut down. So now I got these defense mechanisms and all types of stuff. So yeah, now I have to peel down these goddamn layers of all this trauma and all this, defenses, and not even knowing where it's coming from. But I'm aware of it now, and learning to try to be easy, try to understand what's going on, who I am, why I'm reacting like this, why am I attracting people. So I was on some real militant F-white people, like I said before, but I wasn't really doing the healing. But I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I was trying to learn. And I started looking at the people around me and my friends and why they was my friends. And then I started, getting healthier, trying to stop, I stopped eating certain things on and off, was just trying it and sharing the information with my friends and just regurgitating, not implementing everything that I learned, but just doing my own research and reading books and just trying to find my way, trying to find who I was. And then I got into the more of esoteric and metaphysics, and this brilliant scholar and teacher, Dr. Delbert Blair. Oh, sorry, y'all, because I'm all tongue-tied right now. So Dr. Delbert Blair, he had my mind going. Like, I was like, what? Like, I never heard nothing like it. But it all kind of made sense. When you hear something and it resonates, or sometimes when you hear stuff and you're like, that's some bullshit, right? It's bullshit. But this is just like, I had the knowing. I always had this inner knowing. So I started listening to him, Dr. Drew Pukram, and a lot of other esoteric and metaphysical leaders, and more on Delbert Blair. And then I started listening to like with people, all like the whole taps and stuff like that. And I don't knock people. I don't knock people who want to teach and scholars, and I may not agree with everything that I hear, but one thing that I've learned is just take what resonates, and sometimes you gotta go back. A lot of times you gotta go back. I learned with this journey called life. A lot of things you gotta go back to relearn or re-understand, or maybe, a principle or something that was said will mean something different to you than it did a year, 2 years ago, 6 months, 3 days ago. Who knows? Or you be having them little aha moments or whatever, and it's you be like, oh shit, like yo, that makes sense. And I always tell people, do your own research, and do your own research by reading, studying, listening to lectures, and also do your own research within. Ask your higher self questions. So, yeah, I went through the self-knowledge. Shout out to my homegirl, Sunny, because we both on some Black Panther militant at work. We was always just regurgitating things, and I can say like we was really on it, and I start shifting more away from the Black militant and just regurgitating when I start listening to Delbert Blair. And then, of course, learning about the Matrix and the lady who wrote the Matrix. I remember listening to her story, and I forgot her name. I'll get her name in the next segment. But the actual lady who wrote, this Black lady who wrote the Matrix, and I remember listening to her story and just learning about, the Matrix and itself. And oh my goodness, I remember. It's another lady, like I said, my next segment I will tell you as well, because this is just all coming up into my thoughts right now. And they were just talking about the paradigms and just what this reality is, and it just had my mind blown. Not saying that I never heard of it, but I never was really deep into it. So basically my thought process, before learning all of this was, okay, there's a God, and pray to God, and if you do the right thing, I can't even say if I thought you did the right thing. I only thing I knew was I believed in a higher power and praying. But I always thought there was more. I always knew it was more. I just didn't understand it the way that I did now. And I didn't know where to find it exactly. So boom, right there. So I went through that phase of self-knowledge, and I'm still on that journey as well. Like, I feel like even when you think you know yourself, as you grow, you have to relearn yourself. You're not the same person that you were before, so you're growing. And I think you're always going to have to relearn who you are. Yeah, you may have a blueprint of whom you are and know the structure, the main foundation of who you are, but you do change, and you have to revisit that place over and over again as your life changes. And I feel like that would change for me as I grow within myself, as a future mom, wife, business tycoon, just different ages and just different experiences in my life. Because, things change. We change our mindsets and our ideas and the things that we want, So, yeah. And so I started to learn about manifesting, because this damn apartment was taking too damn long. So the law of attraction popped up. And I started to learn about the law of attraction, and like Deepak Chopra and Dr. Wayne Dyer, Louise Hayes. And that stuff was good. I really like Dr. Wayne Dyer and Louise Hayes for her affirmations. And that's what I started learning about, affirmations and things of that nature. And they was also talking about changing your mindset and being kind and positive. So I went to being like militant and changing, being a little aggressive to trying to change that, and be more feminine as well, because I remember Dr. Delbert Blair was talking about the feminine energy and masculine energy and things of that nature. So I was learning about that as well, and not fully understanding that either, but I know that that relationship made me closed, and I was losing myself, and I was aggressive, and yeah. So I started to rebuild the foundation of who I was. So let's say 2013 to 2014, I was growing as a young woman, and things was changing. I wanted different things. Certain things didn't entertain me no more. I was just like, I'm not with the drama and the BS. Like, sis over here trying to manifest mansions and dollars and cars and all that. Like, I was finding my way, and then I felt myself getting into arguments with people because they was triggering my, traumas and old wounds. Like, they was triggering me, but I didn't realize that. And yeah, and people looking at me like, the hell is wrong with her? Because now I'm growing and I'm changing, because I'm not doing the things that I used to do. I'm not allowing people to talk to me and use me and say things, just do things to me. I was just on attack mode. Like, I was going off, and then at the same time I was like hurting other people. At that moment I gave zero tolerance. I didn't care. I didn't care, because the only thing I was like, nah, I'm worried about Janetta. Oops. Netta. And I'm worried about me, and I could care less about you, because I felt like at that time I used to care about everybody else but myself. So, of course, homegirl cup was empty. I ain't have a drop. It probably was cracked at the bottom of the cup. I was just all out of my element. And I was just reacting. And I never was a reactor. But I was just reacting, and I was doing it aggressively, So I had to learn to calm down. Then, like I said before, Dr. Wayne Dyer and all that, started with the affirmations and the positive thinking and the positive thoughts. So I started shifting my mindset. Not saying that I didn't learn that from Dr. Henrik Clark and Dr. Amos Wilson, but I wasn't implementing, and I was listening to the message, but the real undertone was, change your mindset. We have to take control of our mind. But I was looking at the other messages and the lectures and the teaching. I was busy on some victim mode, not taking my power and owning my power, and knowing who I am. Like, I understood it. No, you know what? No, I didn't, because if I did, I would have implemented what I knew. So I heard it, but like I said, I was just regurgitating everything. So when I started doing the law of attraction and learning about that, and trying to manifest at that time, not knowing that we manifest every day from within us. So I was like, okay, let me see if I could find any black people talking about this, right? So I started finding other people like Mr. Beckham and I mean, I heard Oprah. Always loved Oprah, and yeah, but I didn't. Not the good and great scholars and teachers like Dr. Amos. Like that's what I was looking for. But if I would if I go back now and I listen, but like I said, I got back into I went back and forth, should I say, into esoteric and metaphysics, and I mixed it up. And that's when I went deeper into the esoteric, and um, then I started. Well, I didn't get into Bobby Hemmett until later on, but I started to just keep listening and learning and really breaking down what feminine energy, masculine energy. Then I started to learn about the chakras. Then I started to learn to meditate. Then I started learning about mantras and things of that nature. So I'm like, okay. Then that's when I started to learn about shamanism and things like that. And then I got into crystals. I was just like Alice in Wonderland. I was just all over the place. I was going into that rabbit hole deep, 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 deep. But I'm glad I went into there because I went into darkness. I was swimming in that rabbit hole. I was sliding through. I was all up in there. All up in there. And sometimes I had fun and sometimes I didn't. But I really understood what doing the work means. So a lot of people just, oh, law of attraction, universal laws, and you manifest and you manifest. No, sorry, that's not the only thing. No. If you have healing and you have traumas, which we all do, and we all have domestications and we all have self-attachments and things of that nature, then you need to heal. Who you think you are not. So, my thing is, unlearn what you know to relearn who you are so that no one can tell you who you are and tell you how to use your mind, how to act, tell you what you can and what you cannot have, and tell you that you are limited. And I was very big on that because I felt like as a woman of color or a black woman that I seen a lot of that, and hearing things in history, like in school, hearing, black people started from slavery. I knew that shit was a crock of bullshit in goddamn school. That shit don't even make sense, okay? And black history in the history books, I can tell you that shit was only about 15 damn pages. But I'm, learning about all these medieval kings and stuff. And I used to like history, but I used to like the geography of history more of that. And I liked history because I like to research and dig deeper. I search for truth. My thing is truth. So I just never understood it, and I thought a lot of it was bullshit, and it didn't make sense to me anyway, but I was just like, whatever. And so as an adult, I was just like, okay, research everything. It don't matter who it is, just research it. So I was researching and reading books. Now, let me say, I started meditating, but I wasn't meditating consistently. And I remember when I started meditating, and excuse me if I just jumped all over the place. I started meditating, and I remember I felt like I had a out of body experience. And I'm like, oh, this feel familiar because I used to sleepwalk when I was younger, a whole lot. And I used to feel like my body used to be coming out of, my spirit used to be coming out of my body. Like I used to have a lot of out of body experiences when I was younger, but I didn't know what it was. Like I used to have dreams about Michael Jackson. I was fascinated with him when I was younger. Like I used to have these dreams. Like I was on stage with him at his concert. Like as a little girl. Like vivid dreams. I used to see like scary stuff. It would be scary stuff to maybe other people, but even as a young girl, I used to watch like scary movies. I was like gory stuff, like I think about it now. Jason was nothing gory. Freddy Krueger wasn't gory to me. I used to watch this movie called Dead or Alive. I would watch that movie over and over and over again, and it never bothered me. And my favorite number growing up was the number 13. And I just I never understood, but now everything adds up to me. But yeah, I guess I had a little dark side in me, which we all do. But I was never scared of the dark side either. So, yes, I started meditating more and getting really to my dark side and my ego and understanding that. And then now I'm understanding the ego versus the God mind. So now I'm back to Delbert Blair and from Dr. Wayne Dyer and things like that. And I'm hearing them say this, but now I'm back to Delbert Blair. And now I'm hearing about the God mind and saying that God is within you. You are a God. I am God. And at first me saying that, I was like, am I supposed to say that? Like, I felt funny. And even though I didn't grow up religious, but I just grew up saying, oh, I'm Christian. And I did, sign up to be a part of my father's mother's church, my Nana's church. But I never went to no Bible study and things like that. And I was like the only young person in that church. So I didn't take it serious. Not saying that the people in the church weren't nice and loving and stuff like that, but the whole religion, I wasn't having it. And I ended up throwing the baby out with the bathwater because I was listening to what everybody else was saying, what pastors and reverends, instead of reading stuff on my own and trying to understand it on my own. I was just like, the hell with all of this. But you end up going back to understand a lot of times. So, yeah. And that's, self-knowledge was my first step to this spiritual journey. And the next step was awareness. When I started going deep and start really acknowledging and becoming aware and becoming accountable and responsible, when I heard that, that's when I was like, okay, I'm responsible and accountable for everything in my life. Oh, you are God. Oh, God is within you. I am God, right? I am very powerful words. And really understanding that, understanding that, and being connected and living like a God, thinking like a God. And that was hard for me, and sometimes I don't struggle, but sometimes I'll be like, I may fall off, but I still, fall off about 10 minutes, but I shift my mindset, and it comes with practice. All of this comes with consistency and practice. So, yes, I finally learned self-knowledge. I am God. God is within me. God is not in the sky, at least not for me. I am not anyone else's God. I don't want to be anybody else's God. I know who I am. Find out who you are. So I found that out, and then I had to take the steps to understand who I was and what it meant to me. So now I'm trying to teach other people, and I'm trying to change other people. That was the next phase that I went through. And it was really challenging because people were like, what the hell are you talking about? Especially now that I changed, and it's like, what? What you mean you God? And then I don't want to explain myself to people, or then I start breaking it down. And to some it sounds good, and then it's like, oh, but I quickly learned you can't change anybody. And you ain't got to convince nobody. So even with learning, oh, I am a God, I still had to fix my self-esteem. That's just something that I just learned. So I had to put that into practice and habit. And I wasn't doing it at first. I really wasn't. I really had to work on my self-esteem and get aligned and get in tune with my higher self, and just get all of my information from within. Everything that you need is already within you. We look outside of ourselves so much, too much, when all the answers are within. And that was very tough for me to understand at first. And it was a hard pill to swallow because we're taught to look at, other people, and we have so many people, things in society, magazines, things on television, things on the radio, and so many things marketed, telling us to be other people, and social networks. And a lot of times, a lot of people get wrapped up in the distractions when you really just supposed to be yourself, be your authentic self, and finding that person, finding that authenticity. Everything is going within. Everybody wears a mask. Everybody got layers to peel off. And to really be in tune with yourself and be happy with yourself and really know who you are and be comfortable with who you are, that's scary at first. And when you are comfortable, that shit is scary to other people too. Because a lot of people not comfortable in their skin, and they pretend to be other things that they don't have to be, and they don't even realize it. There's people living different lives, being different people, there's a difference, with shape shifting, But when you can't even be yourself, you can't laugh or, smile or express how you feel, just different things. But yeah, that was a hard pill to swallow for me because I felt for a long time I was being somebody that I really wasn't. I was trying to be nice. I was, you know, I don't know. I was just, I guess, trying to fit in to a certain extent, you know. But I was always different. I was always different. But it was just like everybody just thought I was this little this little quiet, you know. I can be. I'm just very observant. And like I couldn't speak for myself or something at one point. Then when I started speaking up, it was like, oh my gosh, like we ain't know you felt like that. So yeah, and it felt good. It was new, but it felt good because then I started doing things that I liked. Then I started to find out what I liked and what I enjoyed and what I didn't. So, yeah, everything we need is already within us. So, learning to not look for acceptance outside of yourself and being acknowledged because you only need to acknowledge yourself. Sometimes, it's nice when we get awards and things and get acknowledged outside ourselves, but that shouldn't make or break you, you know. Um, except, especially looking for acceptance outside of yourself. And I had a hard time with that as well because I had a lot of abandonment issues as a child. So, you know, I that was one I had to work on. Didn't realize I only needed to accept myself, and if nobody else accepted me, oh well, like okay. So and just to see society, everyone is on TV and this one and that one and things like that. You gotta differentiate the real from the fake. What's the real meaning of life? And I feel like everyone is here for a reason, and you have to find your purpose and really, really be connected. Align yourself with your higher self. I feel like, being on the path that I am on now, there's no going backwards for me. I have no reason to go backwards. So once you find your purpose, and it's still a little tough, and it's okay, you know, I'm tough. I may not know how to do everything, but at least I know my purpose. And it's just like anything else. You gotta train, you gotta practice. But I'd rather be here than where I was. I'm hands down. I'd rather be here than where I was. Because I was trying to live for everybody else. And that wasn't really good for me. It wasn't good for anybody. And I really wasn't living for myself. I was trying to just save everybody and make everyone see the best version of themselves, or just do things to be, accepted. And I wanted to feel accepted because, I had my own abandonment issues from childhood. So, yeah. And so, yes, that's basically the beginning of my story. But I really wanted to say this because my homegirl, Sunny, she asked me the other day, how do I expect black people to heal when, you know, with the cop killings and all the racism and things of that nature. And I told her that unless we heal, unless people of color heal, the same thing is going to continue to happen. If you don't heal, you continue to do the same thing. And when you're doing your healing, that means you're acknowledging, a lot of people, society, period. Everybody has domestication, self-attachments, everything that we learn from our parents, from generations to generations. Everyone has generational cycles. And a lot of people haven't ended them. Their generational cycles is on autopilot in a lot of families and society. And people need to break them. You may not like the way that your parents may have raised you. Well, that's the best that they knew how, because the way they parents raised you. And I know, and I've heard some crazy stories, and you got to learn to forgive, just like with this whole racism and things of that nature. You got to forgive. You don't got to rock with these people, racist people. You don't even got to, they ain't got to even be in your circumference. But you got to know that it's a distraction to keep you away from your spiritual self. Because if you stay in victim mode, you stay in a low vibration, you stay in a low frequency. So how can you tap into your God mind or be aligned with your higher self? Boom, right there. That's really totally it. When you stay on a victim mentality, you're on a low vibration. So everything on TV, in the radio, and in the magazines, and the shit that people saying right, that's just to distract you, to get you riled up. And emotion, that's one thing you need when you're manifesting in things in life, period. It's your emotion and your beliefs. So if you on a low vibration and you got that emotion, like, okay, so say if I'm walking past the cops and I'm thinking like, oh, they gonna mess with me. So now I'm exuding this negative energy. And now I don't even mean to say negative energy, but I'm exuding this energy, and you expanding that. Your energy is flowing to that. Whatever you focus on, your energy goes to, and you manifest in it. So that's the same thing with racist people, racist white people, and or any racist people, and it's the same thing. And you gotta understand, if somebody hates you for your skin color or anything, or just hate on you, period, that's their insecurity. That's the insecure ass person. For someone to really stop or not like you or try to stop you from being better or on the same level, or that's just fear. So why would you give your power to a fearful person or fearful energy, fearful entity? No one has power over you. We give our power away. And that's just people, period. You know, you're a spiritual being. So just denounce your humanhood now. And own your God, your higher self, your spiritual being. Like, yeah. That's what I really wanted to say. I I can't really say it no better. Like, staying in the victim mindset, thinking, you know, the white man foot is on your neck, like stuff like that. Nah, all these teachers always says take control of your mind. Once you take control of your mind, you'll be able to tell your mind how to think, what to do, what you want your mind to do, what you want your mind to manifest. You know? So everything is mental. So yeah, that's basically the answer. And if you want it on a more mundane level, even more, just stop. You know, I see a lot of like maybe racist fashion designers. Then don't buy from them. What for? I mean, racist business owner. All right, so stop spending your money there. You know, if people really come out and say, I don't like these group of people, da la da la. And if I ever heard that, or a business owner or an establishment say, I don't like a specific group of people, first and foremost, I don't care if it was, black people or anybody. I wouldn't buy from you anyway because you sound crazy. That's just your insecurity. So I'm not going to even do business with you or any type of thing because I'm not even on that wave. I'm on a higher frequency. I'm on a higher wave. I'm on a higher vibration. So don't stoop low. Don't be equal with low vibrational people. Don't let that illusion. Don't let, you gotta be equal to them so you could get money and all that. Money ain't nothing but energy. Your currency is love. When you deal with your heart, that's where the money flow, that heart chakra. So, and I had to learn about that too, because sis over here, my heart chakra was like hard blocked. And when I recently got attuned for my Reiki master certification, boy, I thought I was having a heart attack. Like, for real, for real. So, it's real. It's real out here. And I just want to see people heal. I want to see people heal. Everybody take accountability and responsibility for themselves. Get out of victim mode and get out of fear mode. Get out that hating, insecure mode. There's no reason for you to hate people. Think that you're more privileged than anybody, because you're not. And it's no reason for another group of people to feel like you are any lower, or you are lower than anything or anybody on this universe, because you're not. So, yes, that concludes this segment. And I want to tell everyone, I love y'all. Thank y'all for listening in. And I will see y'all next. Y'all will hear from me next week. Y'all won't see me. Y'all probably see me, so. Peace.